Greetings, everyone. Well, no fancy editing this time because, yeah, I just wanted to give you a basic, straightforward update. Nothing fancy, but it works, right? Holy Moses. I've had some pretty rough moves before, but this one is the grand champion. This one takes the official title of the move from hell. Yeah, I'd say this one was even worse than the one where Cass and I came back from Calgary. And some of you have been viewers for a while will probably recall the road trip video where we basically filmed our road trip from Calgary back to Victoria. And then there was a really steep driveway up to the, well, it wasn't like this, but it was pretty steep getting up to the house, and the truck got stuck at the bottom of the driveway, and we had to call a tow truck to get it out of there and stuff. And oh, what a mess that was. Well, this one was even worse. Okay, basically the long and the short of it is I'll just give you the encapsulated story of the move from hell so you can get some idea. I'm still just getting over the tail end of my cold. Yes, it's been almost 3 weeks, but lots of green tea and vitamin C and just pounding back food like crazy to give the body lots of energy to fight, and getting lots of sleep whenever possible. Okay, so the long and the short of it is, about a month and a half prior to the move, I had put out a call on Facebook to everybody I knew to see if anybody was available to help. And quite a few people came forward and said, yeah, sure, just, let me know when and stuff. And basically, I was like, cool. So for all intents and purposes, I thought I was going to have a crew of about 3 or 4 people, which meant we probably could have easily loaded up the truck within 2 or 3 hours, headed on up to Nanaimo, and been good to go. But what ended up happening was, well, I also had one girl from work who very graciously offered to be our driver. Originally, she had offered the use of her truck, but we quickly realized that her truck wasn't going to be big enough, and she also said that her truck was a bit of a gas hog, so she was concerned that I would be paying a lot for gas. So we decided to go with a U-Haul. So she basically arranged the U-Haul. I was the bank. I paid for everything, and so that was that. Now, of course, she is pregnant. She's several months pregnant, so she was not able to actually help with the moving part of it. But that was fine. I mean, I figured that, and no big deal. I'm gonna have like 3 or 4 guys coming over to help, so that'll be cool. You can just, chill and relax and hang out with us and direct or whatever. What ended up happening though was Annetta basically wanted me to look after Rosie that day. I tried to encourage her to put it off until the next day, like until after the move. But the thing was, she's involved with a guy who has a couple of kids of his own, so they've got like 3 kids in the house, including Rosie. And this was the only weekend they'd had in months where they could actually have a weekend entirely to themselves if I could look after Rosie for them. So basically I agreed to look after Rosie. I figured, at the very least it would give the girl a chance to have someone to play with and hang out with while all us big burly men were moving all the stuff. So, that actually worked out okay. They had a lot of fun together, and they hung out, and she had like an iPhone and a Nintendo DS. So the two of them basically played video games and coloring games and stuff, and her and Rosie had a great time. So anyway, day before moving day rolls around. I touched base with everybody who said they were going to help me move, and everybody who said they were going to help me move has said, "Oh no, I can't do that because I'm working that day. Sorry." It's like, I gave you like a month and a half notice. You couldn't keep that day free, it's not like I didn't give you sufficient notice. So yeah, anyway, the long and the short of it is my entire crew bailed on me at the last moment. Great. So I have a lot of stuff, as you guys know, and as Kat, the girl, put it, I basically have the contents, roughly the equivalent contents of a small house in an apartment. So I've got a lot of stuff. I mean, the collections in particular take up a lot of room, obviously, and are a lot of box. Well, you saw me pack up the just the DVD and VHS collection, and that was quite a sizable bunch of stuff. But then there's books on top of that. There's the comics. Well, the comics are just a few boxes, but and then there's just the typical things that you have in an apartment. Dishes, bathroom stuff, clothes, whatever. Yeah, so I was kind of freaking out. Now there was one guy who basically offered to help at the last minute, and he gave me a call and said, "Yeah, so do you have more help or not? Because I'm feeling kind of sick." Everybody's been getting the same thing that I have. Apparently, it was going around the store quite a bit, and I was one of the last people to catch it. So he said, "Yeah, if you've got enough help, I'm thinking I might just bail today." And I was like, "Please don't." I said, "Unfortunately, everybody else bailed, so can you please come and help?" He's like, "Okay, cool, no problem." He really nice guy. So he by the name of Noel, and he basically said, "Yeah, no problem. I can come. I can't stay like for a long time, but I can at least help you load up the truck and whatnot and see like that." So I was like, "Okay, cool, no problem." So he comes over and he basically helped us load up the truck, but he could only stay till like 5 p.m. So after 5 p.m., it was just me. So Kat, bless her soul, put out like emergency calls to everybody she knew, and managed to pull together a few of her friends to come over and help out with the move. So we ended up with a crew of about 3 people, and we eventually did get the truck loaded. But I mean, it took way longer than expected. It probably took about between 6 and 7 hours to load up the truck, and by then it was starting to get late. I was touching base with the manager at the apartment up here. The problem was I didn't have the key yet because, it being a big pain in the ass to be commuting back and forth from Victoria to Nanaimo constantly, I had done pretty much everything over the phone. The last time I had been up in Nanaimo was just to apply for the apartment, and then everything else was done over the phone. So I still needed to get the key to the place. So I was calling them and touching base with them, like, "Yeah, we're running late," and stuff like that, blah blah blah. And so that was all cool. I mean, they're really nice managers here, and they were really understanding, and had no problem with that. Just as long as I kept touching base with them, letting them know where we're at. So anyway, long and the short of it is, we get the truck loaded up. We fire up the truck to head off to Nanaimo, and there's this horrible screeching, grinding sound from the engine. This smell of burning rubber, and smoke starts pouring out of the engine. So basically, the U-Haul truck we got had just enough life left in it to get to the parking lot of my old place, but there's no way it was going to move, be able to function all the way to Nanaimo. So we had to call their 1-800 emergency line and say, "Yeah, your truck's broken down. We just finished loading it up. We got to get this shit to Nanaimo, like, now." And they're like, "Okay, cool, we'll send a guy out." So they sent a guy out. It took about an hour and a half for him to actually show up. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, this isn't going anywhere, fan belt slipping and stuff like that." And he had to go and get a flatbed to load up the truck and basically tow it to Nanaimo, which is, like, to put it in perspective, what kind of distance we're looking at. It's about 200 miles, so it's a good haul. Yeah, and poor Rosie. I mean, Rosie was such a trooper the whole time. She had it was getting quite late. I mean, this was like hours past her bedtime by this point. We were pushing, almost. I guess it was around 11 o'clock, getting on midnight by the time the guy with the truck finally arrived. But when she was sitting in the cab with Kat, as Kat was trying to get the truck started, and Kat mentioned, like, "Oh, it's a burning smell." All Rosie could think of was burning, fire. So she thought the truck was about to burst into flames. So they got out of the truck, and she left her blankie in the cab. And then she just stopped and said, "We have to get Blanky, or Blanky's gonna burn." And she's just like freaking out. I was like, "No, sweetie, it's not that kind of burning. It's just like, we have to get Blanky." So we got Blanky out of the cab, and then everything was cool. But then as we were walking away, we were like, and she knows that all our stuff is in the truck, and she's like, "Are all my stuffies going to burn, and all my books?" And she's just getting all worried and concerned, bless her little heart. And so we calmed her down. We explained, "No, sweetie, it's okay. It's not like a fire kind of burning. It's just there's just some rubber. There's like some rubber in the engine, a rubber, kind of like a rubber band. So she kept talking about the rubber band burning and stuff, but that seemed to calm her down. So anyway, the guy with the tow truck shows up, and he let Rosie and I ride into Nanaimo with him. Now, as for everybody else, basically, unfortunately, they were not able to come to Nanaimo to help unload the truck. So I realized, like, well, it's either going to be me alone, or I'm going to have to find somebody at the apartment at the other end who can help. I don't know. I didn't know how realistic that was or how feasible it was, but I figured, well, for now, I'm just glad that we're finally on our way to Nanaimo, and we can get that going. So I would like to give huge, huge kudos and major props to Kat for being just such a trooper and helping out as much as she did and just going to all the great lengths that she did, and also for calling together all her friends. So to Kat and all her friends, thank you guys so much. None of us could have predicted that things were going to go that way, and I really appreciate you guys sticking it out with me through that hellish first phase of the move. And also major props to Noel for being the one and only guy to actually come out and help from the original sort of proposed crew. Rosie and I get in the tow truck, and there's only one seat. So basically, she sat in my lap, and we shared a seatbelt the whole way to Nanaimo. And Rosie really liked the truck, actually. It was the biggest truck she'd ever been in her life. It was a big semi, basically, with a flatbed. And so there was just enough juice that you could get the truck rolling just enough to be able to load it onto the flatbed. Basically, just backed it on, and that was that. But so we got into Nanaimo. By the time we got into Nanaimo, it was like 2 in the morning, and it was too late to buzz the managers and to let them know that we were there, and because I still had to do paperwork and stuff before I could get the keys, right? So I mean, there was a process that needed to happen. So I was like, oh, it's too late to buzz the managers and stuff. So I thought that what was going to happen was that we were going to have to take a Greyhound bus into Nanaimo. So I thought that basically the guy would tow the truck up to the new apartment, drop it off, and then Rosie and I would be having to essentially sit in the Greyhound bus depot until morning when the first bus left for Nanaimo. So I was expecting to have like 5 hours of sitting in the bus station, but fortunately the guy was nice and let us ride in with him, so that definitely saved us some time and heartache. So we it also saved some money because it would have been like $50 to take the Greyhound up. And rest assured, I did give everybody involved plenty of money for their trouble, for gas, for food, and stuff like that. Basically, while we were waiting for the U-Haul emergency guy to show up, everybody else went off for food. Took Rosie with them, so she got some food, and I just waited in the parking lot. So I hadn't actually had anything to eat. Like, I hadn't had anything to eat until we got into Nanaimo. So the first thing we did as soon as he parked the truck was, he handed the keys over to me. And then my new apartment is right next door to a Mac's convenience store, so we went straight over to Mac's and got some munchies and some food and warmed up and felt a lot better after that. And then I realized, it's way too late to be buzzing the managers. I mean, they're going to be zonked out. Looks like we're sleeping in the truck. Yeah, so poor Rosie and I had to spend the night in the cab of the U-Haul truck. Fortunately, there was, Rosie's small, and so fortunately there was enough room for us it's just like one big seat, like a big couch kind of seat. So there was enough room for us on there that we could both kind of stretch out and, kept each other warm and stuff. Because I wasn't about to turn the engine on and get the heat going because, well, the engine is fried. So basically we just had to stay in the cab and keep each other warm and have a very restless sleep for the next 4 hours or so. So I was stiff and sore and tired, and then the whole time I was sleeping, all I could think of was like, God, now I got to unload the truck all by myself, and it's going to take fucking forever, and I'm going to have to pay for extra days on the truck. I really don't want to do that. I don't have I had money, but I didn't want to be spending more than I had to, because in a new place you want to have a little extra money in your pockets. You can get that initial batch of groceries and just general odds and ends that you need when you move into a new place. So So anyway, we get up the next morning, and it's about 8:45, and I buzzed the managers. Actually, no. The first thing we did was we went over to Max again, and I got a coffee, and we warmed up, and Rosie had a granola bar, and we just sort of sat and relaxed. And the owner of Max, there, really nice woman, was really sweet to Rosie, and gave her some sour jujubes free. So that was pretty nice. It just like, Rosie just goes in and turns on the cuteness, and people give her free candy. It's awesome. But yeah, so anyway, after getting coffee and sort of, recuperating somewhat, we went off to meet up with the manager. And that was cool. I basically told them the whole story, and they were like, "Oh, you should have buzzed us. We had like sleeping bags and pillows for you, because we figured if you came in late, you'd be tired, and I figured that way you could at least sleep on the floor in the new place before you unload everything and stuff." But I mean, what do you do in a situation like that, right? I mean, it's they don't know me that well. I don't know them that well. We've only met a couple of times, and you don't want to impose, obviously. So I wasn't going to buzz them. But I mean, just the fact that even that was a thing, that they thought to do that and were thinking of us and caring that much that they were willing to do that. Had we buzzed them in the middle of the night. And the one, it's a husband and wife that run the building here, and the husband was saying how, basically all night he was thinking about us and was worried about us and was concerned that, hoping that we were okay and that we'd be able to get in okay and get our stuff in, and just a really, really nice couple, and I'm really, really blessed for having such cool managers in this building. I definitely picked a good building. There's no question about that. So basically, he said that one of his maintenance guys, a really nice guy, about in his early 50s, basically does the vacuuming and just light maintenance around the buildings. They own this building and another, like they manage this building and another building that's like a 2-minute walk away, and basically said that yeah, I can see if he's available and he can help you unload the truck. And he'll charge you something for it, but and he said if he's charging you too much, let me know and I'll spot you some, and I'll help you out with that. I'm like, wow, this is like the best building ever. So anyway, so basically, to make the rest of the story short, so the manager grabbed this guy, and he actually had a flat dolly. Like, I had rented a dolly from U-Haul as well, so we had the 2-wheel dolly from U-Haul, and he had a flat one that you could just load a whole pile of stuff on and save a lot of time. So the two of us basically started on unloading the truck. Really nice guy. He got along great with Rosie. He would let Rosie ride on the flat dolly when we were going back to the truck for another load. So my goal for that day was basically just to get as far as the bed, which was packed about in the middle of the truck. So get all the stuff out of the back and then get to the bed and make sure we have the beds all set up for that night. And so that's what we did. So we unloaded about half of it the first day. Then Rosie and I had a much needed, long, relaxing sleep. And then we unloaded the rest of it the next day. So it was 2 days to unload it. U-Haul didn't charge me anything extra for it. I think the deposit and the insurance basically covered everything. So always get insurance when you get U-Haul, just in case. Because, yeah, so it took a couple of calls to U-Haul afterwards, their emergency line, to get somebody to send out a tow truck to take the truck away. So that was a bit of a pain in the ass. The first guy I got didn't seem to know what the hell he was doing. It took him 20 minutes just to find the contract in the system. And then when I ended the call with him, he was like, "Oh yeah, they'll have it picked up sometime tonight, and you can just go and close the contract in the morning." So I checked in the morning, and sure enough, the truck was still there. So I called U-Haul again, got a girl who actually did know what she was doing. She found the contract in mere seconds, and they sent out a truck and finally managed to... actually, she put me on hold at one point. I was at a payphone because it was a 1-800 number. The call was free, but I was on a payphone, and she put me on hold and the payphone disconnected. So I don't know if it's because I was on a payphone and they don't like you to be on hold on a payphone. I don't know. But anyway, so I called back, and then I got another girl who wasn't able to do anything with the account because the first girl was still working on it, but she was at least able to look at it and check the notes and see what the status was. So I got like regular status updates from her over the course of the time we were chatting. And anyway, long story short, as I keep saying, but it's just a long story. They finally sent out a truck and took the U-Haul back, gave the tow truck driver the keys, and all is well. It's all done. It's all done. So then the long process of unpacking and organizing began. That part I don't mind. That part is kind of fun because then you can, you get a fresh start on all your stuff, and you can figure out how you want to set everything up and do that. I'm just looking at how I've got everything set up now, and I'm actually quite happy with how it's going. So maybe in another video, not this one, but this is just kind of the big update. Hey, I'm still alive video. But maybe in an upcoming video, I'll give you a little look around the place, and you'll get to see how it's all set up. Yeah, I didn't do any videos of the move because, well, basically my only portable cameras are the old Digital 8 cameras, and they're not terribly reliable anymore. Basically, they work well as playback machines, so I've actually been using them to capture a lot of retro footage over the past week or so. So yes, there will be more MMC retro episodes coming. But in terms of using them as cameras, it's just not practical anymore. I don't want them to die before I've finished capturing all that old footage, so I'm kind of relegating them strictly to Digital 8 and 8mm VCR status, strictly for the purposes of capturing footage right now. So I don't want them to die before I've captured all the 8mm tapes. So next up, the next video will be the package opening that I meant to post before I moved, but never got around to it. So you'll get one last look at the old place, which was done, I guess the package opening was done like a day or two before I unpacked everything. So you'll get one last look at the old place, and then we'll be into some new stuff. So next video after that will probably be just a quick overview of the new setup here. The living room here is much larger than it was here. I'm actually just off to the side of the living room here, and you can see the couch there. I got the other chair there, which I can sort of move around. There's tons of additional floor space here. I basically got the entire DVD and Blu-ray collection on one wall. So for the first time ever, the whole collection is together in one location, which is great. And then just behind the computer area here, I actually have the book library. So I've got the books, the DVDs, the VHS, the Blu-rays, the comics, everything, all in one room, which is great. And there's tons of space to spare. I mean, this place is just massive compared to the old place, and it's about $400 a month less than the old place. So that's pretty nice. It's actually manageable. Alrighty, so I've been going for 23 minutes. I think that is enough. You now know the story. It is over. It is finished. The move from hell is done, and I'm nicely settled in now. Yeah. By the way, if you're wondering what this styrofoam head is, it's actually, I picked it up just to, that's actually what was inside the Dracula mask that was in the Halloween display for quite a while there. But what I usually use it for is I have a pair of omnidirectional microphones that can be used for binaural audio recordings, like 3D sound. And what I do is one gets mounted on either side of the head, and it records sound basically the way we hear it. So when you listen to a binaural recording with headphones, it sounds like you're right there in the environment where it was recorded. And you hear things all around you. It's really cool. Anyway, that's what that's for. It's for doing binaural sound recordings. It does not have the microphones attached to it right now. They're actually in a bag with my other wires and assorted stuff. But I don't know, makes kind of a cool, creepy display piece, I guess. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. 24 minutes of babbling. I just wanted to get the whole Sordid saga on record somewhere because, yeah, that was quite a tale. So, huge kudos again to Kat and Noel for being such troopers and helping out, and for all of Kat's friends as well. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate that. And yeah. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So until next time will be the package opening, and then following that will be new stuff. Alright, so until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara.